Hi everybody! I hope you're all having a good day. I hope you're all smiling and enjoying your lovely day. In this following tutorial, I'll be showing you on how to get Warudo and StreamerBot to connect with each other so that way you can be able to have much more advanced controls when it comes to your VTubing setup. Whether you want to have a more stronger connection so you have a less likely chance of Twitch dying on you, because sometimes Warudo might work out when it comes to Twitch connection. There can also be things like if you're a Kick streamer, they have Kick support, or maybe you want to use StreamerBot. There's a YouTube extension for loyalty point system. You can have that set up. There's a lot of things you could do with StreamerBot, and you can go pretty intense with it. But for this tutorial, I'd rather keep it simple, especially assuming that you are an absolute beginner with StreamerBot. So I will try my best to explain at least some basics on StreamerBot while teaching you how to get Warudo working. So to start off with StreamerBot, make sure you download it from their website. I'll be sure to leave the links in the description if you don't have the StreamerBot yet. Now, what we're going to do, and I do recommend making sure you have a StreamerBot account logged in. For this case, I'm not going to bother with it. And what you're going to do, which is very important, is that you're going to go into platforms and make sure you're logged in with your Twitch account here. This is very important because, you know, we're going to be setting this up with Twitch, for example. You can also set up with your other platforms if you wish to use it for those, but we're going to focus on Twitch for this tutorial, but the information will apply. So make sure you're logged in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to servers and clients right here. We're going to go into WebSocket server, and we're going to make sure we scroll up. Make sure that the auto start right here, we're going to click on the on button. This is so that way StreamerBot can be able to automatically start this WebSocket server, so it will automatically read with Warudo because we want that. And we're gonna make sure to click on the start server button here because this will allow it so it's actually working. So StreamerBot has, you know, WebSockets open, it can communicate, because that's very important. So again, have auto start set to on, and then server status, make sure that is active. Once you have that, you're going to then go over to custom WebSocket clients here. You're going to right click and then click on the add button right here. And we're going to add Warudo's details. Now please bear with me because what I'm going to say next, it's probably gonna sound silly, but it's gonna work. So for the name, make sure to name it to Warudo. And the endpoint, this is where the funny part happens. You gotta input this long, weird name, which I'll make sure there's a text below if you want to pause the video and type this out, but I'll go ahead and type it with you. So ws://127.0.0.1 and then colon 19190 / that's literally the endpoint because this is Warudo's number. This is Warudo's like WebSocket server. So yeah, now we'll have it, you know, once you're done typing this out, you're gonna then click on auto connect on startup and then reconnect on disconnect, because this is so that way when we open StreamerBot, you know, every single time, it's going to remember to turn this on so you don't have to manually turn it on every time. And then reconnect is in case there's a disconnection issue, it will try to reconnect every 30 seconds. You don't have to worry about this other stuff. This is pretty much the settings you need. So click on OK. Then what you're going to do is you're going to right click and click on connect. So therefore, Warudo should be detected by StreamerBot, so that way StreamerBot can then talk with Warudo, if that makes sense. So now that we have that, we will, and bear with me, this might be a little bit much, but this is just how StreamerBot works. So there are some things we'll need to set up first before we start doing our Warudo setup, and this is starting with setting up our first ever Twitch redeem. So the first thing you need to do every time you want to make a new Twitch redeem, at least for StreamerBot use, is that you're gonna go into the platforms here. So platforms, then Twitch, and then channel point rewards. For YouTube, if you're using the loyalty point system, you'll actually be doing that via command instead. I'll be sure to have a video link of the person who created the loyalty point system for YouTube in case you're curious about that. They have a sort of guide on it if you want like an early reference, so heads up there. But for Twitch here, you'll go into your channel point rewards. And then what you're going to do, you know, again, assuming you already connected your Twitch account, you're going to right click and then click on create new reward. This is the channel point that, you know, assuming you're an affiliate or partner. If you're not an affiliate or partner, I don't believe you can be able to access channel point redeems. Maybe it might change, but just heads up, from what I know, is for affiliates and partners. So for reward name, we would want this, at least for this tutorial's example, we're going to have it called Throw Plushies, and we'll have the description be throw plushies at streamer. And then we'll have it where we can change the background color of the redeem, so we can have it be blue or pink, whatever color you want here. You can even have your own, it's up to you, but click on OK. And then you can have the cost of the redeem be something like 500 points. There could be a max amount in case of spam or something like that. There could also be a cooldown so people don't spam it. So I can set that to 30 seconds. And then we can have it where for the group, this is just for organization purposes. We can call this Twitch Redeems. And again, you can name it however you want. So this is pretty much how we can make our channel point redeem, so that way we can be able to utilize it with when we set up our redeem stuff. So click on create, and there should be a new group called Throw Plushies, and it should look exactly like this. And it should also appear on your Twitch channel points list as well, so that's a convenience. You can literally add all of your channel point redeems here, and it'll be updated on Twitch's end, so very nice. Now, besides this right here, we're going to then go into the actions tab. This is where we're gonna have it where we'll have an action, and this is kind of just the name of our redeem, I guess, mainly to have it where we link the trigger Twitch, and then we have the sub actions link it to the action, if that makes sense. I'll try to break it down as much as I can. So let's give this whole action thing a name, like the overall like channel point redeem control. We're gonna name this Throw Plushies Action, or we can just name it redeem if it's easier for you. And then we can name this group to Twitch Redeem Actions, like that. This is pretty much what you have to do, give it a name at least here, and then click on OK. Then what we're going to do is that we're going to right click here, then click on add, and then you're going to find Twitch, then find channel point reward, then reward redemption, and then over here you'll choose whichever your redeems are. So for our case, we named it Throw Plushies. This is alphabetical order, keep that in mind. So click on Throw Plushies, like that, and then click on OK. So therefore we now have it where when Twitch, or when somebody redeems the channel point for Throw Plushies, what action is it going to do? This is, yeah, so this is the action, and then this is the trigger. Hopefully that makes a little more sense now that you're seeing me do this. So for sub actions, we want this to be Warudo, like we want StreamerBot to tell Warudo, hey, you actually do the action instead, because we're a VTuber. So we're gonna right click here, click on add, then we're gonna click on core, then C#, and then execute C# code, because this, it's okay, I don't know code either, don't panic, but this is pretty much where we're gonna be able to tell StreamerBot what is the name of this is gonna be the name that StreamerBot is going to send to Warudo, so Warudo knows, oh, this is the Throw Plushies redeem being triggered. Well, let's actually throw the plushies and not throw liquid at the VTuber on accident. So right here, we're going to type out CPH dot Websocket, because we have to put in the name of the message that StreamerBot wants to tell Warudo. So Websocket send, and then we're gonna have parentheses, then we'll have quotation, and then I'm gonna name this one throw plushies. Like that. So remember, the name that you put exactly right here, this is the one we're gonna have to make sure Warudo has this exact name, and I will show you what I mean. And last but not least, make sure that at the end of this, there is a semicolon. Very important. If you don't put that, it's not gonna work. So this is pretty much how you would type it out. And if you do, now, unless you know what you're doing with code, all power to you. But for beginners, make sure that it's typed exactly like this. And again, feel free to slow down the video, feel free to pause the video, but this is pretty much what you'll have to write for every single redeem that you want to put in StreamerBot. Don't get me wrong, kind of annoying. I get that for beginners. That's kind of why there is the native Twitch solution if you want a little more easier method. But again, once you get the hang of this, this can allow you to do a lot more advanced stuff. Trust me. So once you have that, click on OK. And remember, the name is throw plushies or whatever you named it. That orange part right there, again, remember the name, or even do Control-C just to remember. But remember that name, all right? And now you have it where, for StreamerBot, this is pretty much how you'll be setting up your redeems every single time. Now, again, for servers and clients, you only set that one time and you don't have to think about it ever again. But for your redeems, you always have to go to Twitch. You always have to go to the channel point rewards. Right click, you create a reward, do your, you fill out all the stuff that you want here. And then you go into your actions, you give it an action, which is, in relation to that redeem there. You give it a trigger for, Twitch to give StreamerBot that trigger of, oh, somebody triggered the channel point redeem. You gotta do something about it. So, and then sub action is where you're telling StreamerBot to talk to Warudo. Does that make sense? And then, like I said, reverse the video, feel free to ask any other questions if you're still confused. I am trying my best to break it down as much as I can, but that's pretty much what's happening here. So, and again, you make sure that this is, you keep in mind of this, because we're going to actually now go into Warudo here, and we're going to go into blueprints. And then what we're going to do is that here is we're going to add a new blueprint here. So click on add blueprint. We're going to click on the pencil here, and we're going to call this one Twitch Redeems. Click on OK. And then what we're going to do on the search bar here, we're going to type out WebSocket. And then you're going to use the on WebSocket raw message. Since for this case, we are having it where StreamerBot is sending the message to Warudo to do the 3D action. So we're gonna do switch on string. So this one right here. So this, think of it kind of like this is StreamerBot's voice, and it's like, hey Warudo, I got a question for you. Could you trigger this? So make sure that the exit and then enter, they are connected just like this. Raw message, this is the voice of StreamerBot here, and we're putting it into the input string, so now they're listening to each other, yay. And then from here, under cases, this is where that orange text I was pointing you about, this is where you actually put that orange text at, the name of the redeem or the name of the sub action or the code here. So that way it actually can do the action thingy. Your actual redeem will actually function. Now you can add as many redeem stuff here. You can have water redeem, as long as it's matching the name that's in this code here, right? Again, whatever is in here, this needs to be the name, the same exact name here. So there's that. You can even have a spin redeem. You can pretty much put all your redeems within here, but of course if your blueprint does get a little laggy, there's nothing wrong with having to duplicate it, which again, you just hold control, drag like this to select multiple nodes, Control-C, and then Control-V if you want to copy and paste. But for this case, we're not going to do that. So I'll press delete key there. But for now, we'll have something like this. So let me go ahead and, since we're doing the throw plushies, we're going to have throw, and we're going to do throw prop right here. So click and drag that. And then we're going to have it where throw plushies is here. Then target character is going to be ours. Then we're going to have the prop source. I think we'll have it be, I want it to be a puffin. Yeah, we'll have a puffin be thrown at us. And you can, set up your other stuff if you want to have like impact particles or a sound even if you want. All that stuff if you want to set those things up. But and again, you can refer to my throw redeem tutorial, which kind of breaks down like all the stuff you need to know. But for the most part, like, as long as it's connected to this switch on string here, throw plushies, whatever happens after this green thing will actually do the trigger. Yeah, this should now work. And do make sure you save your work. So press on the paw, save your work, make sure you do that. So save. And once you have that, we will then test to make sure if StreamerBot and Warudo will actually talk to each other. So let's go over here. We'll click OK. And in order to properly test it, to make sure at least things are working, simply right click and then test trigger. And as you can see, I literally just got electrocuted by a puffin. So yeah, as you can see, it actually works. So that's pretty much at least how you would do the that's pretty much how you would do the whole like redeem stuff. Now if you want to do it where it's a command instead, it's kind of the same workflow, but I'll still show you anyway. So let's say we're doing command, right? So right click, we're gonna do add, and we're gonna have it, let's say for example, I don't know, we'll call it a shoutout command, right? So we'll name this shoutout. Then we're gonna have this command be exclamation mark shoutout. And then we're gonna have this group here. We're gonna name it to, I guess, Twitch commands. And then you can have it where you can allow, from here, this is the permission stuff. So you can have it where it deny everyone except or allow everyone. So by default, it should have it where it's allowed for everybody. But if you want only specific people, then yeah, you could set it to moderators specifically if you want. Really up to you if you want to do that. There's also other settings as well where if a bot account were to trigger it, it's going to ignore them. Or if you want case sensitive, in case of anything. You can have it where there's cooldowns as well. So you can have this set to like 30 seconds. For like users, or have it for everybody. So, if you want to add cooldown, there's that. And you can even have sources here as well. So if you want specifically from YouTube, then you can have it specifically from YouTube. Otherwise, you can have it for Twitch, or you can have it for both, like both Twitch and YouTube. Why not? You could do, you could do that. And again, there's other settings here as well, but like I said, I don't want to over-explain too much on the StreamerBot. And if anything, I will also leave in the description a tutorial I do recommend where this person actually goes over the basics on using StreamerBot for absolute beginners if you really want to learn more about how to use StreamerBot to the fullest. So please check that person out in the description below. So once you have it where you have your shoutout here, you set your cooldown, your sources here, you can, again, give it a name. You can set your permissions if you want, where if everyone interacts with it, or, again, only moderators, however you want the permissions to be. Then you simply click on OK. And then once you have that, it should be enabled. If you want to disable, you right-click and disable it if you like. I'm going to have that enabled. And then over here in actions, I'm going to right click, I'm going to add, and I'm going to name this one shoutout command. And I'm going to rename this group to Twitch command actions, just like this. So click OK. So therefore, I can have a separate area for my Twitch commands, and then a separate area for Twitch redeems, keeping it nice and organized. So for Shoutout command, we're going to right-click under the triggers, and then click on Add, and then you will go over to, I believe, Core, and then Commands, and then Command Triggered, and then we'll select on Shoutout right here. Click on OK. So whenever someone types out !shoutout or whatever command you want it to be, we will then have the sub actions here. So right click on Add, Core, C#, and then the execution C# code. Again, pause the video if I went a little too fast there. Please pause it. But again, it's right there. And then we're doing the same exact setup as we did with the other redeem. It's the same thing over and over and over, where it's going to be CPH, Websocket, send, parentheses, make sure that you have your quotation marks there, and then we'll name this one Shoutout. And again, remember the name that you put in here. And also do not forget the semicolon at the end. I heavily emphasize this. The semicolon needs to be at the end so it can work, or it's going to hate you forever. So make sure this is set up just like this. And then click on OK. But remember that name. Remember that name. So click OK. And then once you have that, we're going to then go into Warudo. I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna make another one over here. So again, WebSocket, raw message, switch on string, because again, we want StreamerBot to tell Warudo what to do. Make sure that this is connected, exit to enter. Raw message goes into the input string, just like this. So they're talking, like StreamerBot is talking to Warudo. Warudo actually has ears. And then click on the plus button. We'll name this Shoutout, so make sure you paste the name there. And then you could do whatever the heck you want there. Let's say we're going to spawn a particle, right? So we're going to spawn particle, and then we'll have it where they're connected. So Shoutout to enter. And then the source, we want this to be, let's say, a magic confetti. I want this attached to my character's head. And it's going to do this. Just an example, you can go up and beyond with this, but every time a shoutout happens, this is going to happen. So once you have that, we need to test to make sure StreamerBot's working. So go back to StreamerBot, right click, test trigger, and it works. Now, of course, you can be able to test this with your Twitch. So whether you're in OBS or on your actual Twitch page, you can be able to check to make sure that the Twitch channel point redeem throw plushies or whatever the name of the redeem is there, and double check if by chance there is an issue where in StreamerBot the trigger here, right click trigger, this works, but on Twitch itself, it's not working. Try to reconnect your Twitch account. There might be something wrong, or you may have to redo the process, or you can report the issue to probably StreamerBot or Warudo, but even then, if it's not working at all, that's probably just a Twitch issue. So just keep in mind, I heavily recommend to join the Warudo and StreamerBot Discord server, because there may be chances where there is a Twitch issue that just randomly occurred that's out of anyone's control. So keep an eye on that so you're up to date on any bug issues or like issue with Twitch, because you know Twitch be like that. But you know, besides reconnecting, keep an eye if there's any outages, or maybe try to retrace your steps in case you did something wrong, because again, every tiny thing matters. For example, make sure that the raw message to input string is there. I cannot heavily emphasize this anymore. I've seen people forget to connect this, and that was actually their issue. So connect this, and then make sure that for execute code, make sure you have the semicolon at the end. It's typed exactly like this, so that way it can properly be detected. Make sure also your servers and clients are activated. All this here. Make sure it's auto start, make sure that's on, make sure that this is also on auto connect. Right now I'm just pretty much having you just recheck in case you have any issues with the setup, because all of this stuff is very important to get things working. So make sure it's all typed out properly here. Everything's all typed out, all good. All right. But if you did end up getting it working, then congratulations, you pretty much made it to the tutorial. Now, I'm gonna quickly show you an example, a more advanced example, so that way you have a, as you get more advanced with your setup, you can kind of have an expectation on what to expect if you go up and beyond with StreamerBot. So here's a more advanced example. Now, again, granted, this is not really a how to do all of my redeems. This is more like if you're expecting just reference on how I do my crazy stuff, then here it is. So, for example, on the platforms here for Twitch, I have my OBS redeems here. So this is the name of the channel point redeem. I have it where I organize it where this is specifically for the OBS stuff. And then this is for all of the Warudo triggers. These are literally all the ones that Warudo's in control of. So there's that. And then for YouTube, I just have like this stuff connected. For commands, I have all this other command stuff, but most importantly though, it's these two here. These are the ones that trigger for Warudo. I just give it a name. Because I multi-stream on both Twitch and YouTube, I have them both separate because these commands specifically are for my loyalty point system that I have, and then the Twitch ones are for just my controls in case like the channel point redeems kind of break or something and I have to do like a quick test. So there you go. But those are like, again, just add the redeem and all this other settings. Now for the actions, I have mine look like this. So this is for like my Twitch stuff really. And like for example, banana or box, for example, like I could just right click on Twitch channel point, right click test trigger, and a box just hits my darn head. For YouTube, mine looks like this over here. Like I said, this could be a separate tutorial specifically for Warudo, but again, like I still have in the link below the person who made this, so you can reference how they do it. But pretty much all this stuff is like imported. There's like the redeem here. I have mine boop where YouTube channel command thing, and then I have it where the code's all the way at the bottom here. Pretty much I just follow what the comments that the person provided, and that's how I'm able to do this crazy stuff. It also works with VTS Pog. Like I said, this is a more advanced example. I do not expect beginners to copy all this. This is just so people can see like, oh, this is my setup if you're curious on how I do my stuff. Yeah. So, that's why I pretty much have, it's the same, like for the most part, the information applies where, okay, I add a channel point or command, then I give it an action. The trigger could either be the command or the channel point, and then I add wherever the heck the thing is, whether it's Warudo doing that or it's even OBS doing that stuff. So there you go. And then how my blueprints look like there can be a little big. Some of this honestly could just be remade because, yeah, some of these could honestly be remade, but you could just see how I did it in case it worked for you. This one is pretty much two different throw redeems. This one throws stuff. This one for extreme toss. So this one throws 5 snowballs, I believe, or something, like, or 5 prop. Oh no, this is for 5 plushies, and then this one does 100 plushies when you redeem it. So there's this example. I even have prop redeems, which look something like this, where it's all within, like, like I said, all the redeems are here. And then those are the prop examples where the delay flow does the timer stuff and all that. And then at the end, that's just kind of my broken glasses redeem that I need to remake that entirely. And then we have, yeah, like again, I'm not going to show you everything. It's just, the information applies really. That's just my point. Is like, you got WebSocket here, you got Switch on String, and you have all of these node stuff that do whatever you want, whether it's your prop stuff or Scale. Ah! Big head. I forgot that was a redeem. This is called Big Brain. Oh, please stop. But yes, I hope that kind of gives a little example though. I hope that makes sense. But again, if you're still confused, just comment down. And in case you're wondering how the Big Brain redeem looks like, it's just 3 nodes. It just scales your head. That's it. Again, eventually with all these like other redeem stuff here, I'll make more tutorials about those specific ones in case you're super curious about them. But I just hope that at least seeing a bit of like my set like behind the scenes could give you like an idea of like, oh, what to expect. Again, especially with how I have like a lot of stuff going on here, because again, I kind of built this over time. Or set this up. Also is a mixture of like things you can download from the StreamerBot community. Like this one's already like something you could download. You can get command checker. Like a lot of the stuff you could just download from the community. It's actually in their Discord server. You could just check their forums for extensions and then just install it and just use it for your benefit. You can have so much control, so much stuff with your setup, so go crazy. But that's all I have to say though. Let me know if you have any questions, but I hope that this helps out on understanding how you use StreamerBot with Warudo, especially with the new UI. And yeah, have a lovely day everyone, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye bye! Thank you to all my Snowflake members. In case you don't know, I have YouTube membership, so if you want to further support this channel and what I do, then feel free to join the Snowflake members. Otherwise though, just your support means so much to me, and I appreciate every ounce of it. Either way though, with that being said though, hey goodbye everyone! I hope to see you guys next time, okay? Bye bye!